Welcome to the Top Tenner Show. I'm Liv, and I'm joined by my friend James. Tell the people what we're discussing today.
Today, we are finally talking about our dreaded backlog. There are a lot of games that Liv and we just really haven't gotten around to, and we're finally doing it this year. So buckle up, it's about to be a backlog battle of the ages. Coming in at number 10, we have Final Fantasy 15. Well, at least for my backlog, as you all know, Liv definitely isn't going anywhere near a Final Fantasy game.
In James's head, every Final Fantasy game is in my backlog.
Before I dive too far in, I want to have you understand just how many games are currently in my backlog. It is a staggering 677. I went and counted just for this episode. Now back to Final Fantasy 15. This game has you following Noctis on his journey to save Lucis from the Empire Niflheim. This game is a gorgeous, beautiful, stunning masterpiece from everything that I've seen. I know it's divisive in the community, just like Final Fantasy 16 was, and honestly, me being a big nerd for Final Fantasy, I can't fathom why I haven't played it yet. As of this recording, the game is now in my PlayStation 5 and just a few button clicks away from me diving into it.
I also can't fathom how you haven't played this yet. I just assume you've played them all.
Remember, Liv, World of Warcraft consumed me and took me away from console gaming. We blame WoW.
Ninth on our list is Red Dead Redemption 2, which was released in 2018. Why haven't I played it yet? I'll tell you why. I understand this game is a prequel, but it was released after Red Dead Redemption, which means I have to play that game first. I'm a firm believer that you play the games in their release order because that's the order the developers wanted you to play them in. Otherwise, they would have released the second game first. I get a lot of pushback on that, but that's just how I feel. Earlier in 2024, I finally played Red Dead Redemption, and I really enjoyed my time with the world. I've heard the second game is much bigger and much longer than the first game, so I haven't committed to it yet. At least I've finally played the first game though. I am eagerly awaiting to see what's in store for Red Dead Redemption 2, and I swear that I'm going to get to it.
Saddle up, Liv. Us cowboys have to be ready for anything, and it's about time you draw your 6-shooter and play this game. At number 8, we have Baldur's Gate 3. With so many JRPGs releasing last year, I honestly totally forgot this game existed for a while.
James, you're always suggesting games to me. How about you finally play this epic game and give up on Final Fantasy for just a bit?
I mean, I will when you go back to Final Fantasy. But, honestly, I see what you did there, Liv. And Baldur's Gate 3 was one I was initially hyped for, as I'm a big fan of all things D&D. I was fully prepared to sink countless hours into the game, but I got distracted by returning to Hades on the PlayStation 5. With that being said, from what you have expressed to me, Liv, and from what I've seen from friends, Baldur's Gate 3 is the perfect game for anyone who's ever wanted to throw a fireball at a goblin, argue ethics with a vampire, or pickpocket a dragon, all before breakfast. It's like being in a fantasy book club, but instead of discussing the characters, you are the characters, and the plot twists are wilder than a wizard's beard. Quote from a friend, by the way. After seeing the love and adoration you and fans have had for this game, Liv, I promise that this is one I will complete this year, just for you. Now, if only you could say that about a JRPG.
We'll see about that, but this was one of the best games from 2023, and it is an absolute must play. Number 7 on our list is God of War Ragnarok, which was released in 2022, so it hasn't been sitting in my backlog for that long. I played God of War 2018 in early 2021 for the first time to prepare for Ragnarok. This game was incredible, and I earned the Platinum Trophy. Those Valkyrie fights were tough though, but I got through them. I'm very excited to see how Ragnarok improves on the previous game. I didn't get to play Ragnarok at the time of release because I was way too busy playing other games. Horizon Forbidden West released that year and consumed most of my time for months. Then I needed to play A Plague Tale Requiem, which was released near God of War Ragnarok 2. It was such a busy year for games. I'm hoping in 2024 that I finally boot up God of War Ragnarok.
Don't just hope, and don't say maybe to that, Liv. Just give it the good old college try.
Oh, I know I will love it when I finally press play.
Coming in at number 6, we have a game that was just released this year, and that is Sandland. I know typically our backlog is reserved for older titles we haven't gotten around to due to life, work, live service games we just cannot put down, and a variety of other reasons. But honestly, with the passing of Akira Toriyama this year, Sandland will be a game I sink 100 plus hours into so I can appreciate once again the greatness of his artwork come to life in a video game. I know I have yet to play this game, so take this with a grain of salt. But if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, Dragon Quest, or any other piece of media that Akira Toriyama has created, this is a game you will want to play, regardless if you are a fan of RPGs or not. Toriyama was such a huge part of my childhood, and I cannot wait to dive into this game.
I really enjoyed the manga, but I couldn't get into the demo that was available to play on Steam. You'll have to let me know your thoughts on this game though. At number 5, we have Dead Rising, which was released way back in 2006. Okay, I know I'm a little late to the party on this one. I love the zombie apocalypse genre in general, and I'm not sure how this one slipped through the cracks. The main character is a photojournalist, and if you take higher quality shots, you get better scores. I love photo mode, so how did I miss out on this game? If I enjoyed the first game, which I probably will, there's more games in the series, so I'll be set up for a while. It's been a while since I've played a zombie game, so I better get back on that grind. This is the oldest game on my backlog, and soon, I really should play it. I have no excuses. It's already downloaded on my Steam Deck, just waiting for me to start it up.
Zombies and photography, you say? Liv, you better get your camera ready and your baseball bat so you can go a bashing and a clicking and a photoing all day long.
Oh, I will.
At number 4 this week, we have none other than the legendary, at least according to Souls-like players, Elden Ring. I will wholeheartedly admit, Souls-like games are not my cup of tea. I appreciate the level of detail that goes into a game like this. Heck, you have to die repeatedly just learning the nuances of the mechanics. However, I've never been a fan of that style of game. With that being said, a good friend of mine wrote an amazing article on this game. John, this is for you, and after reading it, I decided to give this game a shot. I will say that the article he wrote was released last August, so as you can see, I have been slowly working towards that goal. I may die a billion times, but soon, Elden Ring, I will conquer you.
This is a game that I have also had my eye on, but I've never played a Souls-like game. Should this be my first one?
Yes. The answer is emphatically yes. We will die together, Liv.
Oh, joy. Checking off the top 3 is Boyfriend Dungeon, which was released in 2021. This is a silly roguelike game that I know I will really enjoy. The premise of the game cracks me up. You date your weapons. Yes, there's dungeon crawling and dating. What more can you ask for? I feel like I either play the silliest or the darkest games, with no in between. Returnal was my first roguelike game, which has led me to play a handful of other games in the genre, like Hades, The Binding of Isaac, and many more. Boyfriend Dungeon has been on my radar for a few years now, and one day, I will get to it. I swear. I'm sure James isn't surprised that a game like this is on my list.
You give me grief for RPGs, and now you want to date your weapon? Yeah, this checks out.
It sounds so ridiculous, and that's why I need to see what it's all about.
At number 2 this week, we have the game I am currently playing, and that is Tales of Arise. I initially picked up the collector's edition of this game when it first released, and it has sat on my shelf collecting dust ever since. To give you some insight into how I game, I have a current gen game that I play, this being Tales of Arise, and then once I finish, I go to a retro title and rinse repeat over and over, hoping and praying to one day get through this never-ending backlog. Seriously, I feel like for every 10 games I beat, I've added 50 collector's problems. What can I say? This game is gorgeous though, and I'm kicking myself for waiting nearly 3 years to play it. Like its predecessors, the story is amazing, the visuals are striking, the skits are packed full of comedy, and the combat is sublime. I am happy that I am finally getting around to this game, and I can easily say that within the next week actually, this one will be finished and another game is going to be removed from that pesky backlog.
Look at you making some progress. I guess you have to stop playing Final Fantasy to start a different JRPG though.
I mean, I'm making progress and you here are saying one day I'll get to it. Who's really conquering their backlog here?
Listen, it's not a competition. At the very top of our list this week, we have Divinity Original Sin 2, which was released in 2017. Okay, I know, I'm going to contradict myself here, but I was told Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 are separate stories. So, it's okay to play 2 before 1 in this situation. So, I will admit, I haven't played the first game yet. However, if I like the second game, then yeah, I'll play the first game as well, which I'm sure I will. So, enough, alright? Don't come for me. Divinity Original Sin 2 is really intriguing to me since I played Baldur's Gate 3 and loved every single second of it. That was my first Larian Studios game, and I'm eager to play another. The game looks familiar with the UI for Baldur's Gate 3, so I think I'll love it just as much. Divinity Original Sin 2 recently went on sale, so I picked it up. I've been itching to play Dungeons & Dragons again, so I'm hoping this will feel pretty similar to that experience. I know it's going to be a long game, so I haven't played it just yet. These RPGs are a big commitment. Nevertheless, I'm very excited to eventually play it, as I'm sure I will love it.
RPGs are a big commitment, you say, Liv, and you're about to play one because you just purchased it? This really does scream you to a T, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. That's a wrap for games on our backlog that we need to finish. I'm actually surprised that James has a Final Fantasy game on this list. I just assumed he had played them all. Which game on your list will you be playing first?
Look, I gotta say it again, WoW consumed my soul, and because of WoW consuming my soul for 7 years, my backlog is endless. Thanks, that's me in that live service game that I just couldn't put down. Now, I can't always get it right though, but when I do with Final Fantasy.
Alright. Well, I think I should probably play Dead Rising since the remaster is coming out, and I don't want to see any spoilers. I've already made it this far. Thank you for watching today's episode of the Top 10er Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe while you're here. Tune in next Friday for our Top 10 Video Game Heroes list.